Welcome back to the MANNY Podcast. As you can see with me, I've got some friends who are going to try and help me actually flow this podcast a little bit better, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah,
How
you're
are you?
decent. Introduce yourself.
I'm Lawrence. I'm Rossi's mate.
And how long have I known you?
Too long.
Too long, yeah, that's true. Right. Well, today's podcast is going to be more so focused around social anxieties, depression, stuff like that, stuff we all experience, and hopefully we can give you some decent advice. I'm hoping. So I'll speak first about some fucking social anxieties and such. Like you have experience with this as well, social anxieties. Like, especially in a club environment, I get very anxious around a lot of people, and that can be quite scary for young people, especially like when you're so used to socializing and you're so used to being in a situation where you got so many friends, you're really, really social animal. And you get this like sinking feeling inside of you. You almost feel paralyzed, innit? Like, in them situations, you almost feel paralyzed. Like, that's how I feel in them situations. I feel shaky, my heart's racing, I'm sweating, and it's just an uncomfortable feeling. You feel like you want to get out of there, and it can be triggered just by even chilling with too many friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like sometimes even when you're chilling people and it's meant to be like kind of calm, it can kind of hit you.
Well, it's like the thing I think is difficult around it is that for 3-4 years of our lives we've been really, really social. We went out a lot, we did a lot of stuff, and to now be in a position where that's like almost a scary thing to do, do you know what I mean? And almost when you go into them situations, you've got them preconceptions of shit, there's going to be a bunch of people there, you start having anxiety before you go, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess you kind of worry about how you should act sometimes.
Yeah.
When you probably shouldn't put the pressure on yourself.
It definitely. Like, I feel like in them situations, you're trying to be the bigger person than you need to be. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to act so like conform with everyone, but in that way, you're trying so hard that it's just like almost stress. It's a stressful situation, even though you're just chilling with your friends. And I'm not really going to give out advice at this point about it because I just want to hear some stories from other people as well. So, you got any stories? Or any experience? Doesn't have to be a story. Any experience?
I guess all that comes to mind recently is just with university. I've got to do quite a few presentations for that, and I have to keep doing them throughout, and I think I always feel like I'm not good enough. I'll always come away from that feel like I haven't done good enough, even though people will say like, oh yeah, you seem really confident, you did it well, but I'll always have something in my mind saying, oh, your voice just sounded really monotone throughout this, you just rushed through everything. Even like when I write things down, I'll always write what I want to say down and read it for days before, but even then you get in the moment and still things you have to say will kind of just rush and you won't know where it's gone.
It's kind of like, do you get this when you're queuing up for a coffee and you go over your order in your head so many times, and then when you come to it, you stumble over your words? Have you ever had that?
I think so. I think that's also brought on the fact that all the like size names are in Italian or some shit.
Yeah, grande, non-English, nonsensical BS, pretty much.
Yeah, I was trying to get an espresso the other week, and they just had like weird names. Like one of them was Doppy, I just couldn't figure out what it was.
A Doppy.
And I was asked for an espresso, and they're like, "You're a double." I went, oh, that's what. Yeah.
A double espresso, please. But yeah, like with your uni stuff, when do you feel most anxious? Was it the recent speaking or classwork, stresses? What do you think's like the most stressful part about your uni life? in terms of anxiety, that is.
I think a lot of it, like probably all of it, carries some sort of anxiety. Like when you just sat in class, if you're not really feeling like speaking to anyone, if you have to present work, or if you have to sit down with your tutor and show your work, and they always have to like give you some sort of criticism on it. You can always kind of, I feel like I come away sometimes, I kind of take it a bit too seriously. I'll come away thinking, oh, why did I make a mistake? I must be stupid. When that isn't the case at all.
Especially when you got to speak up for yourself in front of all them people as well.
Yeah.
Do you have to speak to the tutor in front of the class, or is it a one-to-one when you're speaking to them, the critical side of it?
Well, when it's just like a tutorial, like a personal one, then it's just the tutor. You just both sat down, but the presentations, the tutor sat there, then your whole class is sat there as well.
Really? Well, that must be fucking awful.
Like the room's dark, and then you've just got like you stand up, and then you've got like the big bright projector shining your eyes, so you can't see anyway. You've just got this big beaming light on you. Yeah,
I know that. Exactly what we got set up here. A nice big beaming light to set in that anxiety for you. But so how do you deal with that? How do you deal with like the uni anxiety? Like say you're in class, say the teacher's having a go at you, or saying like, oh, this work's awful. How would you go about dealing with that?
I guess I don't really have a good way of dealing with it when it goes really badly. I just kind of stand there and just wait for them to finish. I try not to like let any anger get the better of me and just start having to go at them. I just kind of stand there, let them say their piece. Like one of the other presentations not too long ago, like even though I'd done some work and taken it in, like one of my tutors still had a go at me for it because it just wasn't in the right format for presentation. But I realised like I've actually made the effort to take something in, whereas a lot of people like will just say, "Oh, I'm not going to that one. I've made the effort to do something, then take it in." Then they shouldn't really give me shit for it.
Exactly, you've made the effort, you've gone in, and that takes balls. Do you know what I mean? Like just being in that situation takes balls, and I think that uni teachers should understand more than most people. They get to see these young people every single day of their like. Pretty much that's their career. They get to see these young people, and it won't be the first time they've seen someone like and said that thing and it's caused some sort of anxiety. Do you know what I mean? In a way, I'm not calling out tutors. I'm not saying like they're all bad, but I think some tutors go about it the wrong way.
Yeah, and I know they don't mean to. Like they're just kind of doing the job, aren't they?
Yeah.
They do want the best for you. Really.
Oh yeah, they want the best in terms of your education for sure. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes I can sense like through college and stuff, they don't really know how to handle a situation when it arises. Do you know what I mean? Like if you burst out crying, maybe, but unless when it's more internal, it's harder for them to tell. It's hard for them to tell, so it is pretty hard for them to do anything about it. Because if they start saying something to you and there is nothing going on, then it kind of sets something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe they're not so good with dealing that. I haven't really seen something really bad happen. But I guess all they do really is just recommend that you go and speak to somebody else about it.
Yeah.
Like I've had to ask one of my tutors recently about when I wanted to start counselling. I just asked my tutor straight up in the middle of a crit. I just said like, I think I need to go to counselling.
And that takes even more balls to say, do you know what I mean? Especially in front of like education people, because I remember I had to remove myself from college, and I was pretty much thinking of dropping out in the first year, joining the army, because I was suicidal from it, because there was so much anxiety that I was going to fail anyway, and I put no effort in because there was so much distraction, stuff like that, and with my disorders and stuff like that, I find it very difficult to be in a classroom environment. But then the teachers have a go at me for saying, oh, you're distracted, you're distracting other people by being distracted. And they really, in college, they really, like, some of them go at you, do you know what I mean? They'll get fired up about it.
Yeah, college isn't too different from school, really.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because there might be such a minority of people who do get really distracted that it's maybe not most suited to dealing with that as school is really.
Mm-hmm. And they always insinuated that it was my choice to be there, and if I want to leave, you can leave, type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in school, they would never say, "Oh, you can leave." Do you know what I mean? They'd be like, "Nah, you can stand outside and you'll not learn anything."
Yeah.
Whereas
that's horrible, that.
yeah,
I remember
that's a really bad one. Like high school, I don't even think we got time to talk about all the fucking bad stuff that happens in high schools. Like,
yeah.
But with your uni, would you say that you get anxiety still going into class, or have you?
Not as much. I've made more friends. I think that's kind of come from me coming out of my shell more. I think that's from certain people in the class. I mean, they're all okay. I do get along with everyone. That's from certain people in the class. So like, kind of when, like, for example, if I've gone out just to have a vape or something, like somebody else who smokes will just come out and just start
chatting. That's perfect though. Like
that's how I made friends with this girl in my class.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like, because I know someone like me, probably someone like you, kind of find it difficult to make that first step in terms of like speaking to someone.
Yeah,
it's hard to kind of go, "Oh, hi." Do you know what I mean? It's difficult. It's difficult, especially when you've got the stress of the education stuff on top of you. You're thinking about the day, you're thinking about all this other stuff going on, and then someone stood next to you. You don't really think about saying hello, like how are you doing?
In your own head.
Yeah, it becomes very internal, and I think a lot of people who go to uni will feel that. Do you know what I mean? I think every single person there has some degree of anxiety to do with meeting people.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe an important thing to remember is, like, if you at uni you're both in this class, then you have a common ground to speak on. Sure, you must do. And everyone at uni usually is really okay. You don't really get any proper annoying people there.
Yeah, because it's your choice to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to do that course.
If you've gotten to that point, then you must be an okay
You're dedicated
person.
as well.
Yeah.
Like, well, with your class and stuff like that, and did you get anxiety straight away when you started uni, or was it when you actually went and sat in the class? Did you get pre-anxiety, stuff like that? Were you having preconceptions of?
I think it was just when I went in, and I'm not sure. I think at the time maybe like I wasn't really too suited to just going in a new environment and speaking to people. I kind of kept to myself a bit more, like, as my own choice.
Well, obviously I've known you for a long time, and through first year it seemed like it was more difficult because of the structure that was going on at that time. And it seems like as time progresses, which is a perfect example of progression in terms of like mental health, like in terms of the way you've progressed through uni is in the term of like progressing through mental health almost, because you've not only come out your shell more, like you made these friends at uni, but you're getting less anxiety with the course and the stress. And that's like, what I want to say about that is that people who are listening to this, or people who even aren't, like, for your case and other people's cases, it does get easier.
Yeah, it does. You also have to make it easier as well.
Yeah, you can't just expect it to get easier and not do anything.
I guess, something I explained in my presentation today, I kind of made it a journey, because I did 3 slides and I explained first, second and third year, and then I said, like, when I got to second year, like, I said throughout first I didn't really commit properly, but then I just had a turning point when I just realised that I'm here because this is something that I'm interested in, so I should just turn it into something I find fun.
Well, do you want to, you don't have to, but do you want to speak a little bit about, like, the speech you did? Anything from that speech that might be useful?
I don't think it'll really be useful. I just kind of went through my journey of speaking about, like, what I did really, like, practically. And then, obviously, what I've just said then, the main point was having a real turning point. Like, I made it easier. I made the decision to not slack off so much.
Yeah. Because it's easy. It's easy to do.
That brought my anxiety down with doing the work and being there.
And being more confident with it as well.
Yeah.
The man in the corner. Do you wanna introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Melman.
You are? Melman. How long have I known you?
About a year and a bit. Yeah.
It's been a bit longer.
Oh,
A bit longer. And I knew you back
a few weeks.
Few weeks. Yeah. And I know you suffer in a similar way to me with social anxiety. Like, you can be outgoing. You can be outgoing, but in some situations it does get a bit too much.
Situations, polar opposites, really.
Yeah. Do you want to give an example or an experience that you've had, or?
I mean, with me, it's really like the experience I've had with having like feeling any kind of social anxiety. It's always been in like a crowded environment, but it's always been with me that this is something that's very recently started affecting me. Like, talking about the last maybe 18 months or so. And the real first situation I had with it was I was always experiencing it in clubbing environments. Like, I could never like enjoy myself. Just obviously the feeling that you're always being watched or judged by other people. You know, it's not necessarily true, and it doesn't matter what anyone can say to you. Like, it's not true. People are watching you. People
doesn't change what you're feeling, though.
But it doesn't matter. That's the way you feel. And the first time it ever really hit me was when I went out to a club. Not getting into like details.
Yeah, you don't need to.
My ex and all that. But all these situations, I was being forced to go to try and make someone else feel happy.
Oh yeah.
It was never a place that I wanted to be, and it just kind of hit me at one time. I just felt completely weightless. Just couldn't. I had no control of like my bodily like movements or anything. I couldn't raise my arms or anything. I just went into like a full blackout stage. And after that, I've always had a really bad experience with even trying to go to clubs nowadays. So,
do you worry about it before you go?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I still have people ask me, and I'll do my best to like try and gather that actual like motivation to want to go out to a club. But at the end of the day, every time I've tried to do that, even now, like, I can't even get through the front doors of a club. Like, I'll approach the area, I'll see all the people stood outside, and that's it. I'll feel that initial response where I felt like I had no control. I'll feel that now before I even get into the building. So
by that point, you've almost already writ off the night.
Do
you know what I mean? For yourself, like, even if the anxiety doesn't come, it's more that thought in your head that you're not gonna have a good time. Do you know what I mean? And that you're not actually feeling anxiety. That's just anxious thoughts, and they can just be as worse. Do you know what I mean? Because in them situations, it's not that you're being forced to have fun. It is still a choice to go out, but at the same time, you are looking to make other people happy, which in turn should make you happy. But I think the real issue that I personally had with it was seeing all the other people happy, thinking, oh, how are they having a good time and I'm not? Do you know what I mean? Like, I've only really had one good club experience, and then it ended pretty badly for me and you. So, like, and that's with a lot of alcohol involved, lots of intoxication involved there. I
think the worst thing though is I think it's familiarity with your environment. Like, I can go to places that I've been like many times before, and I'm fine with that. But as soon as you go in somewhere that you don't know, surrounded by people that you don't know too well or you don't know at all, that's it. And there's nothing for you to latch on to in your head for you to like settle yourself.
You kind of lose yourself almost in that moment. You're trying to grasp onto your surroundings in that way, and it's like we have this like fear of the unknown. Like, you're in an unknown environment. You may be with some people that you don't really know that well, and it's usually with a girl. And they've brought a bunch of mates with them, and you've kind of got to socialise, but you really, really don't. Do you know what I mean? In them situations, they're chatting along to their mates, but you're kind of in the background. Do you know what I mean? You're back here, and I don't know. Like, clubbing's a weird one. Like, I feel like everyone's had some weird club nights, but how would you go about dealing with a club night now? I know that it's probably not on the books, but if you did go to a club night,
I think if I went, let's say with with you two, or a few other mates or whatever, it's fine because you've got that. You are familiarised with the people that you're with, and you know that if you start to have a bad night because of something that's going on in your head, you can turn to your mates and you can talk to your friends. And it's alright because you can have a good time with your mates because that's what you're used to anyway. But on my own, or with other people that I'm not too familiar with, I still couldn't do it. Because obviously it's only been recently. It was like the last 2 months that I tried to go to a club.
It's still hot in the water almost. Like, I remember I went through my panic disorder for about nearly a year, and it was brand new to me. That's still recently in the past, and that really messed me up. Like, I'd go out and go to Courtyard and just see my ex, see lots of old friends that I didn't really want to be around, and I'm meant to have a good night, do you know what I mean? I'm meant to be there for my friends, and I tried my best, but like you say, you get them pins and needles, heart starts racing, and all you really want to do is escape that situation, and no one there, even around your friends, do you know what I mean? It's got to really be the right people, and I feel like there's, for me personally, like 3-4 people, perfect number. As soon as it gets to like 8, that becomes a bit of a crowded situation. You've got a conflict of interest. If someone wants to leave, not everyone's going, and like that night we had, like when we got back to the house, conflicts of interest start coming up, and it gets a little bit heated, and then certain people are sketching out and stuff and have to leave, and then we're not leaving. So like even with friends, it can be a hell of a time, but I feel like for me personally, the way I go about it now is knowing that it's going to happen, knowing that certain things are going to happen. You're going to be in an environment where you're going to be uncomfortable. You know you're going to be uncomfortable, but you've been uncomfortable that many times that, do you know how you said you know your environment? You know the uncomfortableness. You can sit with that, do you know what I mean? And you probably won't have as good a time as you could have at all, nowhere near. I still believe that you could have a good time.
I mean, what it can do to you as well is there's clubs that you've been in and you've had these experiences. For me, it immediately eliminates going to these clubs again, because as soon as you mention that name, you just associate with that experience that you've had.
Yeah, it's a trigger.
Yeah. And then even like if you're getting ready to go out, or someone's mentioned a night out and you're even thinking about it, as soon as you start to think about those events that you've had in the past, automatically it's just
written off.
Yeah, it's written off even the thought of it. So you do have to motivate yourself a lot. And the problem I find with social anxiety is even if you feel like it's okay, you can get yourself into the situation and then it'll hit you like just instantly. Like,
well, that's the problem with believing you're a big man. That's what I'd say. Like, if you think you're a big man in this situation, I'll just handle it. You kind of put it to the back of your head, but then you get there, everything's right in front of you, and you start panicking because it's such an overwhelming experience, and it's very difficult to kind of explain to someone who's never felt that, because we know many people who are so extroverted that I genuinely believe it's almost impossible to feel social anxiety. I think they could if the situation got weird, but in them situations they fly. That's their home, do you know what I mean? But I feel like I won't go around and say that you have to be introverted to have social anxiety, because I do believe some extroverted people do suffer with that as well. But I feel like in clubs especially, it's a bad experience either way, because it's not reality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of fake happiness. There's a lot of fake emotions going on. There's a lot of intoxication, and I'm not that type of person. Do you know what I mean? I'm all
The
about
big thing for me is it's being around people that you feel are on a similar wavelength to you.
yeah.
It's like, obviously you was talking before about college and university and stuff like that. I never had a problem in college because, you know, with the people there, like, on your course or whatever, they're into the same things that you're into. But
Yeah.
when you're in a nightclub and people are intoxicated or whatever,
Different
it's like
intentions,
the different
maybe.
people already.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let alone people you don't know. It's people that are obviously going to act a very different way to what you used to if they were sober in the first place. It's just kind of, you just
Like, there's
don't
nothing worse than a
Yeah.
bad drunk.
Yeah, you
Do
don't
you know
want to
what I
be
mean?
around people that are unpredictable or
Where
whatever the
you're
case
getting
may
yourself
be.
into a bit of
Yeah.
a sketchy situation. But I don't know. Like, I don't obviously want the whole thing to be like, oh, nightclubs.
Yeah.
Like, is there any other experiences you've had other than nightclubs?
I think I never really know. Like, I do get obviously quite worked up about things that most people get worked up about anyway, like money problems or whatever like that. But I feel a lot of the stuff that I've had is from bottling things up over a long period of time, and then it hits me very fast.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not doubt with anxiety. Like, obviously, I get stressed like super easily
Uh-huh.
over small details.
And then you never show it.
Yeah.
You never show it. Like, I know you as the chilled guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you as the chilled guy. But I know that's not the case, because I know myself, and when I'm like put on the face that I give to everyone, like, oh, I'm alright, I'm decent, I'm sweet. You're not. Do you know what I mean? You're just penting it up for later, and no matter what you do, it will bite you. It will come back to bite you. Like, what about you?
I found sometimes with social anxiety you can hit at the most unexpected times. Like, it might be like a bad thought that just comes into your head. Like, can happen. You could be sat with some of your closest friends, like anyone, and you could just kind of have like a bad thought or something that like kind of knocks your confidence.
Totally.
Like, it could be any sort of calm situation. There'll be no reason for it, and then you'll just kind of start thinking something. And then I think sometimes I find like if you just go to the toilet and then like
You're alone for a minute.
Yeah. I find like, I mean, I'll need to go anyway when I do it, obviously. But like, I find obviously, just walking out for like a couple minutes, you know, you go off a piss, wash your hands, and you just kind of breathe. And that helps.
Yeah. Well, that's like a thing almost from the movies, isn't it? Like, where you splash water on your face, but that's a proven technique to actually calm anxiety, like the sensation of cold on your wrists especially. The problem is with anxiety, your heart starts to race, you start to sweat, you start to get really hot, and that throws our natural equilibrium off. And by cooling the body down, or tricking your body into believing it's a different temperature, that can actually lower our blood pressure, our heart rate, and start to calm us down. Because there's the physical side of anxiety that causes the mental side, and then they snowball off each other. So your heart rate starts to increase, which pumps a load of blood back up into your brain. So your brain's working overtime, starts getting these anxious thoughts, which snowball back down into your physical, and it keeps going around, gets worse and worse until it'll either come down at some point, which it will. You'll hit a peak, you'll start to come down from it, or you can kind of start using certain techniques like cold water, different techniques, that breathing techniques work perfectly. You just got to find what works for you. Like, so yours is like just taking a minute to yourself.
Yeah, just find an excuse, I guess, to just kind of walk off for a minute.
Well, I'm basically the same. So with situations that I'm not comfortable with being in, I totally, I've got tea at home. Do you know what I mean? see you later, boys. I've got tea at home. Got to be back now. But yeah, like,
stick it in the microwave. Nah.
Nah.
Be as good,
I
man.
want it fresh. It's gonna go off by tonight, so I'll see you boys later. But yeah, like, do you end up doing that a lot?
Not a lot, to be honest. Not too much.
Yeah.
I guess kind of like.
Do you use that technique to calm yourself down every time that you feel that way?
Not every time. I think there's other things. I think
What else do you do?
I think just like vaping as well. That's something to do with your hands.
Very calming.
I found like as much as I like just like puffing on a vape, like just having something in your hands, just to kind of you're just clicking it and it's just move.
Fiddling.
Yeah,
almost.
just movement in your hands can kind of help. You know, if you have a drink, you know, just all the little things like just having a drink by it. I'll just take a swig of my drink.
Yeah.
I found a weird one. I don't know if this is a bit off topic, but like
Go for it.
sometimes I'll just kind of look at my phone. I'll just check the time. I won't really need to. I'll just kind of check the time.
I know that one. I go on my phone and I don't actually do anything.
I do that
and I
loads,
keep doing it.
I do that loads. Like
Yeah.
I try nowadays to kind of reduce my time on social media, and I find it's kind of like a weird reflex. I'll just kind of reach for my phone, unlock
Suddenly.
it, and then I'll just like go, huh, and just lock it and put it back down.
Well, I know that one because it's almost like a retreat. Do you know what I mean? You retreat into the technology, and you're looking for some sort of a distraction.
Well, I feel like it might be like unlocking your phone, because I do it a lot all the time. It's like I feel like you're having that situation and you'll unlock your phone because you're looking for someone to maybe message you or something, someone trying to start a conversation with you to take your mind off whatever's going on. And obviously you don't find that. You'll flick through your phone, you'll start looking at all your different apps, and then you'll just...
And also, you'll actually, I do this a lot, but more to do with my borderline. You're looking for someone who's messaged you, but then if there's not, you just start hitting people up.
Yeah.
You just start hitting them. You're like, hey, and then if you don't get a reply, you just switching apps.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that for me almost kind of puts me in an anxious mind state. Do you know what I mean? Because I check my phone so often and no one speaks to me. Like, apart from you guys, no one speaks to me. Do you know what I mean? And if you check your phone and no one's fucking there, do you know what I mean? You kind of like, I'm a fucking loser. Do you know what I mean? But I just hit people up, honestly. Like, I'll either just check what you're doing, I'll check where you're up to. I'll be like, yo, disco. We know what disco means. Most people don't know.
Facebook, it's always disco.
Yeah, we never go on anything else. No social media, nothing. No. Disco, Discord, whatever you want to call it. That's our social media. It's a perfect place. But we've been talking about social anxiety for what? I can't see the actual time.
6 hours or something.
For about half an hour, a decent amount of time. So what I want to do is talk about other stuff. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to keep it just to social anxiety and stuff like that. I want it to be a bit more upbeat than talking about all the depressing stuff in life. But like I wanna you've not properly introduced yourself or talked about yourself properly. You don't have to. Don't feel pressured into, because I'm sure I won't tell everything about myself. But let them know.
I don't know. What do they want to know?
Tell them what you would like them to know.
My name's Melman, isn't it?
Just Melman.
That's all they're getting, man.
That's all they're getting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what about your car and stuff recently?
Well, I'm selling my car.
Is it sold?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
When?
When
did you sell it?
Last week.
Last week?
No, he's going getting
No
it.
way.
No, he's going getting it this week.
Wait, so you still got it for now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get the cash?
I
Or
got
did he
like a
do
grand less than I wanted.
Oh man. Is it in cash?
I don't know. It's just
Have you been
bank
paid
transfer,
yet?
bank
Oh, bank
yeah.
transfer. Yeah, that's the safest way. Because I was about to say, have you heard about that scam that's going around?
What's going on?
Where people are selling cars and it's basically like magicians. Do you know what I mean? Like sleight of hand thing. They
so like you turn
come with
around to
cash.
count the cash, and then the next thing that they drove off in your car, sleight of hand sort of thing.
Nah, they're about to hand over the cash, and what they do is like a sleight of hand movement, and they pull out bare the money, and you don't even realise.
That's why you count it though.
Yeah, but no, you've already counted it.
Right,
Do you know what I mean?
Again.
Like you know people out there like magicians and stuff like that. How fast they can like whip something. Do you know what I mean? Like boom, gone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like without you noticing, because it's about distraction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the old adage of like the easiest one is when you just like tap someone on the shoulder and they turn around to that way and you're like ha ha ha. Do you know what I mean? That's like a proper childish one, but like I've heard about that going around at the moment, and honestly, imagine selling your prized possession and you realise, well, mate, I'm like $4,000 short.
Yeah.
Because at least you accepted $1,000 short. Whereas some like people are literally getting scammed, like probably old people, because it's always happening to old people. All the scams are happening to old people, and it's fucking horrible.
PayPal though, isn't it? It's a lot of things on PayPal with scams.
That's what I heard, and
Friends and family.
people tell me if you're doing eBay, do it through PayPal. That's the safe way to do it.
Well, if you find people on PayPal, they'll do it through family and friends, because then you can claim
refund.
Yeah.
Refund. There's do you know about tax scamming through PayPal, shops and stuff?
I know a lot of people get I get a lot of like phishing emails.
How they send money from one country to another through a non-business account.
Oh yeah.
So you pay no tax, and you pay nothing to send the money. So it's basically like fraud. I don't know, some sort of fraud on tax. What's been going on in your life? What are you moving on to?
Nothing much really. Just trying to push forward with university.
Yeah, it's near the end now, isn't it?
Yeah. My music's not been.
Tell them about your music, man.
Yeah. I make a bit of death metal. I just produce it myself. Play the guitar
amazing.
myself. Thank you.
Honestly, like, I don't know how you make them drums. Like,
easy drummer.
It, bro. Like, but it sounds so dirty now. You got that like chopper
I had
dirt on it.
A new drum kit to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's mint. I love it.
Had to do it, man. I think what I do with that self-produced stuff, that's just a mixture of all my favourite things put together. So I mix a bit of death metal, deathcore.
So you got a lot of inspiration.
Yeah.
Who are your inspiration? I won't know the names, but maybe people will. I know you will.
They are Is Murder, Visceral Disgorge.
I've heard of Visceral.
And I'm inspired by Ingester as well. I know they're from Manchester, so it could be kind of like by in a usual sound, but I think they've really done something really good. Like with the music they've done, it just sounds so intense and I guess symphonic. I don't know if that's how you describe it, but there's a certain feeling you get from it. It's not just brutal and aggressive for the sake of it. It's like a feeling you get. You get like these. You just imagine like you can just kind of imagine like the imagery of what it sounds like from the sound.
Yeah. So it paints a picture.
Yeah.
Like I feel like rap's really good for that, obviously, because it's storytelling back in the roots of it. Like we were listening to some stuff the other day, I don't know whether it was me or you, one of us, and we were saying when you listen to like really old rap music that you've listened to and it really connects with you and it almost gives you goosebumps, like you connect with it to a different level. I was speaking to Josh about this as well. Like there's some songs out there that talk about mental health in such a way and describe the undescribable, do you know what I mean? And paint that picture for people who maybe haven't even experienced that. Like, do you think someone could go to a slam show who's never listened to slam and get into it, or death metal? And feel that same vibe, or do you think it's something you really have to...
Maybe it's quite intense stuff. I think maybe you have to maybe have some roots in listening to metal. I think for the most part you'd have to have some roots in that sort of music. But I know you fucked with it.
I definitely do.
Sometimes.
I definitely do. I love anything that sounds dirty and heavy, especially I don't know what's it called, beatdown. I think beatdown's pretty fat.
Yeah.
I know that's like the Marmite in your genre, innit? Like, people love it, people hate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of conflict. Part of the reason I just don't go on Facebook, there's a lot of people I have on there who are in this sort of music, but then there's a lot of bitching, to be honest.
There's that in pretty much every genre you can think of. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's like people who are like my friends or have been my friend at some point, and I can just see them just like, nitpicking at each other, saying this is shit, that is shit, like deathcore's shit, beatdown's shit. Just no, I like to have an appreciation for all of it, from the stuff that you call quite soft metal, like that you could probably rip on for being soft. I mean, I used to be like that, but I have an appreciation for all of it now. I think that it all has something. You can hear the work that's gone into it. You can hear that it's written well, produced well. So I could be listening to, like, I guess post-hardcore, maybe like metallic hardcore stuff, and then go to deathcore, death metal. I think it's all good.
All of it. Yeah. I'm the same, because people kind of rip on me for listening to, like we listen to Slim Jesus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, his music's fine with me.
I appreciate for what it is.
Chief Keef. Yeah. Got appreciation.
Yeah, it's like I'm quite into like Gucci Mane. Like
Gucci Mane.
You could call him like kind of repetitive. Like, I think
for sure.
I mean, I don't know a lot about rap. I'm not the authority on this at all, but I think he has kind of that.
He's a trap lord in his own right.
Old school,
He's a trap lord in his own right. I feel like for trap, he's one of the OGs.
Yeah, and I feel if that comes through, like you can hear like that. I don't know.
He's a very trap character. Even before he did the real trap shit, he was a big trap character. Do you know what I mean?
Like, he has kind of a simple sound, simple lyrical content, but it's just Gucci Mane,
and
isn't it?
That's like trap in the essence. It's very simple. It's very straight up. It's like, it's not trying to be witty. It's like, yeah, I do this, yeah, I do that, but it sounds bossed, you know what I mean? It sounds sounds like, I feel like people don't really appreciate trap enough. If you listen to rap and you can't appreciate trap, and like, people really have this opinion now of like, the old hip hop heads don't vibe with trap, and they hate the fact that rap is turning into trap, but it's like evolution, do you know what I mean? Everything's gonna evolve, and I feel like there's cycles with music. Like, the trap that's out now, 10 years time, that's gonna be dead, and it's gonna move back to lyricism. It's gonna come full circle.
I'm sure the people who really appreciate a certain point in time for a sound, I'm sure that they can still find people who are either still making that, or they've still got access to that music. So I know there's some
rap OGs out there still writing, still making tracks, and like Vinny Paz. Vinny Paz. You've not heard much of his music, but you've seen him on Joe Rogan and that.
Yeah.
He's an OG. He's like out in the streets OG. Do you know what I mean? He's tough guy, and he's a raw hip hop head. Like, he's the guy that I get goosebumps to. Do you know what I mean? Because he's the guy that's made the songs about mental health that is undescribable.
Oh, did he make that?
Happiness.
Does he make that music that's kind of like really intense, lyrical, like historical?
Yeah. He's like the historian rapper. Yeah, Army of the Pharaohs. He talks about like African massacres. He talks about like the stuff that goes in the Arab nations. He talks about what they put in the water type of shit. Do you know what I mean? He's like he's big on conspiracies as well. Like, I believe in conspiracies. You love conspiracies. Like, I feel like you'd love his music if you delve more into his music.
Yeah, I will have to.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Sure, if I sat down with it and listened to it.
Like, on the face of it, it just seems like he's one of these guys like 9/11, this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean?
No, he talks about 9/11 him on Joe Rogan on that podcast. Like,
he's a real character.
Yeah, I can see it. He's got
and
a lot of
there's
realness
nothing
about him.
fake about him. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe there is, but I've not seen it, and I've followed the guy since I was like 11 years old. I've followed that guy the whole way through. He's just recently released a new album, and it sounds no bad meaning by it. It sounds exactly like his old stuff.
Who are some of your favourite rappers?
Favourite rappers, Vinny Paz. There's some old ones, High Res back in the day. Obviously Eminem, he's fell off big time. MGK back in the day, he used to be really, really dope. It's hard with rappers because I don't want to judge them for where they've gone to. I want to judge them for where they were and the best they've done. I feel like Nas, Jay-Z, Usuals, Biggie, Tupac, they're like the OOGs, do you know what I mean? Don't know about rappers today. Like, I don't really listen to that much rap music of today, because the stuff that I listen to is now like trap, do you know what I mean? But like, I feel like it will come full circle. I feel like if Eminem's still around in 10 years, I feel like he'll have some sort of a, not a revival, but I feel like he'll not tarnish his name like he is at the moment, because I feel like he's almost killing the name that he's built. Like, I feel like if he had left that game like 3 years ago, best there ever been. No one can doubt it. No one can say nothing.
I guess a lot of artists changing is really down to them wanting to try new things. Like, for example, if I can bring it back to the sort of music I usually listen to, I think I used to complain that a lot of bands would kind of really drastically change. I'd be like, oh, why have they done that? It's shit. But I find that you do kind of need to change, otherwise you're just going to be right.
You need to move with the times, but yeah. I just don't feel like Eminem, being the guy he is a guy that should move with the times.
Do you feel like people have the day with that?
I feel like
more. Do you feel like they should just kind of stick to a certain time that they're good at, and then they just stop?
I feel like with him, you get to that level of greatness, you got to call it quits.
You think that you should just kind of appreciate where you've gone and
leave a legacy.
So I think the thing with Eminem was obviously a lot of his music that I obviously listened to growing up is very niche topics, very similar things about obviously just all this bat shit crazy stuff.
When he's on drugs.
Yeah, basically his drug induced music. But at the same time, obviously Marshall Mathers LP2 was him trying to clear his whole past about all the stuff that he mentioned that he probably
and that's almost where I felt like he fell off.
But obviously, I mean, after that now, given his age and his circumstances and where he's at with all this past stuff that he's apparently put behind him, I don't think he can really go back to the way he used to rap, which is why I think it's quite hard for him now.
I think he's scared.
Yeah.
I think he's scared that no one will appreciate it. He's seen the trap phase.
Yeah.
He's seen the Lil Pumps, all of them.
Yeah.
And he's scared that everyone knows trap.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Lil Pump. Yeah. Everyone knows that music and can almost appreciate it. It's club music, innit, now? So, like, I think he's scared to just do something crazy.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to be so serious. I get he's old. Well, he's not old, he's middle-aged. But I feel like he's trying to be super mature.
Yes.
Which I feel like, because he's built up an image for so long that everyone's so used to, it's like, dude, we're used to you being like this.
Yeah.
I think probably, maybe if he keeps at this style for a bit longer, I might be able to get used to this way. But because it's kind of recent that he's been doing all this new, kind of, he's been getting really, not political, but like, I don't know how to describe it. It's weird. Like, I feel like he's just trying to prove something. Yeah. It feels like his presence, the way he's spitting these lyrics, ever since he did Rap God, he's gone with the chopper flow, do you know what I mean? And he's just made a bunch of mumble jumble nothingness. And if you decipher it, yeah, it means something, and it's probably very clever.
Like, yeah, his
it's
lyricism
not straight up anymore.
his lyricism's still amazing.
On par, man.
It's just the way he's delivering it at the moment with like the current state of where everyone's going with music. He just seems like he's kind of in his own genre at the moment. Like he's still trying to be his own person. He's trying to be Eminem still. But it's
If he even came out and just said, "Look, this is the new Eminem."
Yeah.
He's never said that though.
No.
He's just kind of came at it with this almost an old man style.
Yeah.
Like I think he's accepting the age that he's at, but I feel like a lot of people don't want him to be.
There's a lot of rappers though, like a lot of the big rappers that seriously fell off just from making silly mistakes with trying to make their own style of music. Like Nas, for example, did that whole album with Damian Marley.
Oh yeah,
no one wanted to listen to it because it's Nas at the end of the day, and he's making this album with obviously
a reggae massive reggae artist.
Yeah, no one wanted to listen to it.
The problem is, there's good experimentation. A$AP Rocky, perfect. That guy has done it right. Yeah. He's still relevant. Yeah. Was hip hop. He's now trap, but it's still hip hop.
Oh, I think
hip hop heads listen to it.
Making himself relevant. Like obviously, a lot of the collaborations that he's doing with a lot of the big British artists.
Yeah,
he's
Skepta, all of them, and he's merging genres, man. Yeah. He's experimenting in the right way. He's getting what is relevant and merging it with his own stuff. Whereas I feel like Eminem, Nas, all them, they tried doing their complete own crazy thing. Do you know what I mean? And coming up with this new idea, and it's just failed. Yeah. It's like Soulja Boy recently with the electronics, with the gadgets, with the consoles. He's still doing it.
Yeah,
he's going to prison. Yo, I'm just a kid with a dream. Like, I could imagine with the right people around him, he could have made something from that. If it just literally like created something and didn't put his own name on it, I feel like
he did it was literally, if you look at it, he's came out, released the Soulja Boy console, but if you search like Chinese game console in eBay, the first thing that comes up is the same picture that's on his website of the game consoles that he's trying to sell.
And it's like what over half the price as well. His comes with that premium price tag.
You think it is just like shock value though? Like he could have
to try and stay relevant.
Yeah, he could have asked experts on it, like how should we do this, how should we make it, how should we market it. But
like there were some people that were ordering his game console, and it was coming in an Amazon like parcel box.
No way.
Because he couldn't actually demand the delivery, so what they were doing was basically using the people's addresses, buying the same thing off Amazon, and just delivering it straight to their house from Amazon.
No way.
It wasn't even a Soulja Boy console, it was just the one that was advertised on the website. Yeah,
because it's exactly the same. That's mad. And now he's going to prison for it.
Yeah.
That's insane. Who else has gone to prison recently?
Well, Fingy's in having a lawsuit. Juice WRLD's having a lawsuit with Sting over...
Really?
What's that song called? It's a really popular one.
Lucid Dreams?
Yeah, Lucid Dreams.
Really?
The instrumental is from a Sting song.
Is it actually?
Yeah, but...
Jeez.
Didn't actually ask to use it, so Sting's trying to take him for a lawsuit at the moment.
Remember Eminem? The lawsuit, the massive one from Rap God. He said one bar that was the lyrics of someone else's song, just to try and take the piss out of him or something, and 50 million, I think.
Yeah, Eminem also spends £100 million a year on personal security.
Yeah,
so, like,
pretty much, and to stay out the media.
Yeah.
And that, like, 6ix9ine, man. Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think he's going away for the right amount of time?
I never even bothered with 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
So like...
I don't know, man. Like, he brought it on himself, but at the same time, do I think he should go to prison for, what is it, something silly, like nearly 70 years?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Like, you can't be that cocky when you're in the spotlight of everyone.
Well, I'm sorry, 70 years?
Yeah, well,
that's 2 life sentences.
Yeah.
For a guy that was just basically a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got people nearly shot, and I think he did order hits on people. That's serious.
Yeah.
And he's part of a gang. That's serious. But is the guy that big a threat when he's in the spotlight? Do you think he's that big a threat?
Oh, yeah. I guess obviously it depends who's looking at him, though, doesn't it? Really.
Well, it depends who has beef with him, because people in the spotlight have a lot of power as well.
Yeah.
A lot of money goes into it, and everyone has a price. Everyone has a price. But I don't know. Like, it's weird. Like, people be hating on people like 6ix9ine, but then they'll follow another guy like Boont Gang, and think that's funny.
Yeah.
Boont Gang's not in prison.
Yeah.
But I know his is all staged stuff and he pays them off and stuff, but they'll follow that and think it's funny. Yeah. But 6ix9ine, nah, you can't have that.
It's like everyone jokes about the whole like P Diddy thing with like Pac and all that.
Oh yeah.
Everyone just jokes about that. It's like,
I feel like that industry needs someone almost like Chief Keef around that kind of just sets the tone. Like, you mess about, you get put back in line. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what the rap game was like. Do you know what I mean? The rap game was, if you stepped out of line, called someone a bitch, whatever, you're getting put in your place. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was real. Whereas trap is like, I'll flaunt, I'll say all this, but I won't back it. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like the trap game needs someone like that. Because I love Slim Jesus, but the stuff he claims, he is going to get himself killed at some point. He's chilled out now, but he keeps claiming, do you know them guys that tried to kill him and everyone said he was dead? He said, he started calling them out on Twitter and everything, and just saying a bunch of stuff about these guys that tried to kill him. And I'm like, do you really want to be like pissing off the guys that are clearly already pissed off at you and tried to kill you and it didn't work? It's like,
do you feel like that's what comes with being really ambitious and having like a kind of a unique sound, that you kind of do have that attitude, and maybe with that some of the
get
history.
a bit too cocky in your sector?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it comes with the image almost. Do you know what I mean? I can't relate to it because I'm not famous or anything, but the confidence that you have to have in trap music compared to the confidence that you have to have in rap music. All you have to say in rap is that, you know, like, you can talk about your difficulties, whereas in trap, as we know with Lil Peep, you can talk about your difficulties, but you'll never get, like, help with anything. Like, who got jumped recently? Dax. Dax made a Tory Lanez diss, and he got jumped by Tory Lanez. And Tory Lanez isn't, like, big street OG, do you know what I mean? XXXTentacion, he got jumped by Migos, and it's like, I don't know, X could back himself, and he did a lot of the time, but I feel like people like Slim Jesus, he'll have many men round him, defo, but it's gonna get more people killed as well. I feel like that comes with that genre of music though, because it's birthed from rap music. Many rappers died trying to be the next big thing, and people out there who were the big thing don't appreciate that. You come in for their spot, do you know what I mean?
Do you see a more peaceful future for it?
That's difficult, man. Like, I think a more interesting question would be, do I want that to happen? Do I want there to be a peaceful future? Would it still be the same? I think
a good way to look at it is obviously there's transitioning from all the rap stuff into all the trap segment. I don't know the time scale. You had people like J-Rock and people like who were just kind of like, they kind of made their own music situation. Obviously, when all the trap started coming out, it's like people were trying to force it back to the old school, like, clash of, like, different personalities.
Lots of disses,
yeah, like, try to keep themselves relevant by talking crap about other people.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, what comes with that is when you're talking crap about the wrong people within the music genre, it's...
Well, you don't know who they are as well, because you don't know whether it's an image or whether they all are serious about it. Because you got a guy like 6ix9ine, right? Everyone thought it was an image. Everyone thought it was this like meme.
Yeah.
He's had people like, I'm pretty sure that one of the lawsuits, I don't know much about it. He definitely had people shot at.
Yeah.
That's serious. That could have been people dead. He paid 10 grand to someone shoot at Chief Keef.
Yeah.
Chief Keef, one of the biggest names in the drill scene. Do you know what I mean? And drill is like the realist. Yeah. Like if drill beef isn't like, as soon as you've heard your name in a drill song, you can guarantee next week, next day maybe, you got some guys coming for you, man. Yeah. Like you're gonna get shot at for real. Like the British drill scene, hardcore, mate. Yeah. You go into the drill scene because you're in a gang. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that I'm okay with the drill scene being the way it is because it's at least real. Yeah. You can tell, going into it that there's risks. Yeah. Pretty much 50% of drill rappers get sent down, or dead. Yeah. Like it still happens in London all the time. Like grime is like, I'm gonna get so much hate. I always do for saying grime is fake. Yeah, Grime's fake. Bugsy Malone, he don't like Chipmunk or any of them, but he's never gonna like shoot at them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you're too smart for that. Yeah. Whereas drill, the gang members, man, it's gang shit. Do you know what I mean? And
it's like gang members that are coming into music, not the opposite way around. It's not people that are trying to associate themselves with gangs just because of the music that they make.
Or seem hard. Do you know what I mean? Seem like you're all that. Like Drake almost, like people be representing him and stuff, and it's like this guy had it all on a plate for him the whole time.
The music as well, I guess a lot of them probably like an adrenaline rush just for making a diss. Like they want that beef. It does promotes your image at the end of the day.
Oh, it does. Like they say, like any publicity is good publicity, especially in that field. I can't say that's the case all the time, but in that type of sector, if you're throwing a diss at someone and you're getting a load of hate, you're getting a load of clicks. Do you know what I mean? And that's a big thing. Like maybe a label will even see you then. Do you know what I mean? I've been asked to do diss. Do you know what I mean?
I was gonna mention that about the label thing. Obviously, like back in the day, had like a lot of different labels that had like gangs within them.
Oh yeah.
And like,
Aftermath
and all that. Yeah.
G-Unit was big.
Like the label as well. Like just magazines and stuff.
Magazines were massive about it. The whole Eminem. What was he called? Cannabis. Cannabis. This. Who was he? Cannabis or something. I don't know. But there was something to do with the magazine, weren't there? Do you know anything about it? No. There was something to do with the magazine, and it was. I think it may be a DJ that he was calling out or something, and that was a real sketchy situation from what I've heard about it. I can't remember because this is going back years. Do you know what I mean? This is like OG stuff. But the magazines, the labels back in the day, defo massive gang affiliation, because back in the day it was a life or death situation. There wasn't much like police investigation into that, and there wasn't the technology around today. Like what got 6ix9ine sent down today didn't exist when they were doing their thing. And if you were gonna get shot back in the day, you're dead. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now they kind of latch onto all the information before it happens and make sure it doesn't, or they've got advisory people around them like, don't do this. Like this isn't good for your image. You'll get sent down or whatever.
Like, I wonder now how many rappers actually have lawyers. Like,
hopefully all of them. They definitely need them.
Lawyers.
Oh, mate, there's that song where he's like
Paul Rosenberg thing.
Where he goes like, I'm surrounded by them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because everyone was looking to have a lawsuit with Eminem because he's the top. Do you know what I mean? You could get some money from him. and he basically got used and abused. Anyone would try and find something on Eminem.
Yeah.
And the guy couldn't leave his house.
No.
And I do feel sorry for him in that way. Like, he's had a tough life, straight up.
Yeah.
Tough career. And not being able to leave your own house or play with your kids without it being in the media. I remember, oh, man. That's why I still respect him, do you know what I mean? I'll never not respect him because he's been my favourite rapper for a long time.
It makes you wonder maybe just the music he's making now is not to stay relevant, but just because he just enjoys making music.
Yeah.
Obviously, he kept quiet for so long because obviously he was probably fed up of all the attention, but...
But now, he actually has the opportunity to kind of chill out with it and maybe raise his daughter in a way he couldn't before.
Yeah.
And when he started to try and regain them severed ties, I feel like he got a lot of hate for it, unnecessary hate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like the whole apologising to his mum thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't think he did apologise for the songs he made, but at the same time, he's not saying like, "Oh, I take it all back" type of thing.
No.
He's saying like, "You still hurt me, still did all this stuff, but I'm willing to go past it." And I think that's smart. That's mature. Do you know what I mean? And I think other people just like the kind of like when Kim came out the track. Do you know what I mean? And they like that angry side of Eminem, whereas I don't think he's an angry person anymore.
You can't be like 50-year-old and angry.
Oh, you can, but I don't think you can if you want to progress in the way he has.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's ever had that. He got up to the age of 40 and he was still an angry man.
Yeah.
He had a lot of internal issues that he was still dealing with. Like when Recovery came out, like that's a lot of internal issues being bled there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just don't feel like rappers of today feel that. Like trappers in particular. Like they kind of have it on a plate.
Yeah.
You've got the opportunity of the internet. You've not really like gone through the grind that they have. You're grinding out tracks.
Yeah. I think the problem might be is a lot of obviously the audiences that listen to the music, they like someone that's came up from them environments, like a hood environment, and they're making this music, they're getting into the mainstream, they like that. But then the problem is, obviously, it's the people that are acting tough that they can't back themselves up with it. So there's a lot of good artists in the trap scene, like obviously like you listen to like Ski Mask, stuff like that. They're not trying to be that
Anyone
person.
that
They're not trying to be that hard person. They're just making good music.
That's what I liked about the contrast of Ski and X.
Yeah.
X was about it just as much as Ski was, but Ski wanted to get away from that life. X decided that very late on, and it was unfortunately a bit too late for him.
So that was the situation, though, obviously.
That's why they split apart.
Like when Juice WRLD was talking about the situation with X, he explained him dying was wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, it was for sure.
Like, cause
but
obviously the
also, do you think it would have happened if he'd made that choice earlier? Obviously, it's speculation. I love X. Don't think that I don't. But at the same time, actions.
Yeah.
Even no matter how far in the past it is, it can get you in trouble.
I feel like the problem is, though, is like he could have just peed someone off the day before.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know either, because you really think that they're gonna dig that deep into it when it's really just another everyday shooting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a famous person who's died, but it's happened in such a way that it's very typical.
Like the way Juice WRLD explained it was that there's a lot of hate for obviously a lot of rappers coming up and making a lot of money, and the next thing you know is X rolling up in quite a bad area in a BMW i8, and then obviously people are going to look at him and think, yo, he's just flexing, that's all he's doing is flexing, like it's not on. Obviously it was obviously very unfortunate.
Yeah, but I feel like if I don't know, I have this weird suspicion that it is to do with the things he's done in the past as well.
Yeah.
because the guy did do a lot of bad shit, and I don't like it when people just call him a bad person, because he definitely wasn't a bad person. He was just messed up.
Yeah.
He was messed up by situations, and him and Pete, like, they both had many, many issues that, yeah, you'll hear some of it in the music, but you don't know 10% of that. Do you know what I mean? You're just hearing what they want you to know. And it's weird because I feel like anything real in the industry just gets taken away from it. Do you know what I mean? Like Tupac, you try exposing anything, you're done. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless you're Vinnie Paz and you got shotguns in your back pocket, man. Like,
Shug Knight with a pickup truck.
jeez. True though, if you believe that. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh my lord. Yeah, Chuck Knight's something else, man. Like, did he go to prison? Yeah, he went to prison.
Probably.
He went to prison, right? I know something about him. I don't know if you know it. Yeah, he did go to prison. Do you know what he did when he came out of prison? Straight away, the day he got out of prison, do you know what he did?
He killed the guy who got him sent down.
Bro, it wasn't the guy who got him sent down. It was a guy making a documentary about it. Making a documentary about...
No, that was the guy that hit with the truck, wasn't it? It was the guy that played him in in Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
The guy that he hit with the pickup truck was the guy that played him in Straight Outta Compton.
But then didn't he get in trouble for like attacking people at a club or something?
Don't.
There's a lot of bad juju on with
Who Shook? Who Shook?
Yeah.
On Shook in a club.
Yeah, I was saying the guy who played Shook Knight in Straight Outta Compton.
Right.
Straight Outta Compton. Didn't he get in trouble for attacking people in a club? I hope I'm not making that up.
I don't know. I'm not too sure about that.
And then I saw some memes.
I don't know.
Like this nigga's still in character.
Really? Damn. Damn. What? Like, there's a lot of bad stuff surrounding that guy. Like, I genuinely believe it's not just Tupac he had killed, man. Genuinely. Even if he didn't do it himself, he's definitely involved. There's involvement there. I don't want to know how many people he's had done off.
Yeah.
I think the film can probably spin the story a certain way.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
For sure. But do you run them over with a pickup truck? Even if you got played badly in a film.
Yeah.
It's like Lindsay Lohan, GTA 5.
Yeah.
Like, she got portrayed in that, and it was like
I don't think that picture looks anything like her.
No, yeah.
It looks nothing
I
like
don't know
her.
though, because like the whole scene that happens with, I think it's Franklin, and you're running away from paparazzi, and that whole situation.
Was it the girl in the mission?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that mission. Yeah. It's meant to be Lindsay Lohan.
Knowing Rockstar.
And she tried suing Rockstar for it.
Yeah. Rockstar, they definitely did.
Yeah. Because it was like pinpoint accurate, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was talking about drugs, and we all know Lindsay Lohan on the coke and stuff, and it was talking about like sexual life and stuff, and obviously that's known with Lindsay Lohan. Loads of information's known with her, but she just tried suing them. And I think obviously Shook Knight, the reputation's there. Like, he's not gonna try sue you, he's gonna try and kill you, do you know what I mean? And he I can't remember if he did kill that guy with the pickup truck. I think he might have, bro.
I don't think he killed the guy. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I don't know whether I can be saying that.
There's a lot of conjecture going on right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of like back forth, like, yeah, we don't really know. And I don't know whether I really should be talking about people like in that type of context, like saying, yeah, he killed this guy, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know whether that could get me in trouble for stuff. I doubt it would, because I don't want to say what.
He got sent down for 28 years.
Hey, Jamie, look that up.
Boom.
Yeah, he knocked that guy down with a pickup truck, killed him, sent down for 28 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
And didn't he just come out of prison?
I think that could have been the case.
Yeah.
Anything you want when you come out of prison, give me my pickup truck.
He's made connections in there. He's gone to the Chevy dealer, and he's like, you know who I am.
Yeah.
You cross me now, I'm coming back later.
Yeah.
Coming back later, and you don't want to see me later. It'll be the last time you see me, type of thing. Like, Shook Knight's scary. Like, I don't know whether I want to talk about Shook Knight for an hour, but he's an interesting character for sure, man. Like, he's many screws loose.
Yeah.
He's a killer that walked free for time. Like, and there's a lot of conspiracy around him as well. There's like, he's defo done that because it's in the news. Do you know what I mean? But there's a lot of other stuff. Jay-Z. Do you know about Jay-Z?
Jay-Z's definitely had people killed.
No, he stabbed someone's brother in a situation. Yeah, he stabbed someone's brother and got away with it. No one pulls him up on that.
Yeah.
No one sees Jay-Z as a bad character. He's just a nice guy that made Tidal.
It's like P. Diddy always slips under the radar. Like,
yeah, oh my god.
He's like the worst out of all.
He's got so much money.
Yeah.
He's ridiculously rich.
Yeah, I think I was looking at that. Yeah, I think he's twice as rich as Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Like,
wait, still?
Yeah.
Even when Dre sold Beats?
I don't know.
I think Dre's the richest. Even above Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Dre's the richest because he sold Beats to Apple for something like... something silly, man. Something silly. Like, he was already one of the richest. And then he made that move. He was like, right, I'm selling Beats.
Yeah.
The everything to Apple. Which was a probably really smart move. Because Beats... I feel like they're dying out, and he sold it at the right
everyone
time.
Had them in school. Like,
Everyone had them. Ah, yeah. Trust, man. Trust. I've still got a pair, but I feel like you don't see them as much now.
No.
Because people kind of caught on to, they're not that good for 300 quid.
Yeah.
But it was a smart move. Like,
just get your AirPods.
a couple of billion, I think. Couple of billion at least. Yeah, he's definitely the richest. The richest. But enough about hip-hop, man. I don't know. We've been talking about, like, a genre for so long. I don't know, like, 1 hour 20. Hey, we're doing alright. We're still all alive. I'm actually proud. Seeing as this is, like, the first, like, group podcast, you know what I mean? Pull that mic. You've been hogging up the mic, man. Give Horacio some airtime.
Hello.
Welcome back, man. You've heard the gorgeous voice of Melly for long enough. But yeah, like, I'm actually proud of us, man. I thought it'd be way more difficult to speak on a podcast than it has been. What do you think?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, man, it's been pretty sick. Like, I can't guarantee that this will be like a regular thing, like gonna be like, because I always said on the podcast, do one a week.
I think just have fun with it. Don't put the pressure on yourself.
I know.
Well, we all shouldn't. I think that the best things probably don't put pressure.
I hate people putting pressure on me about my music. Not any shots at anyone in particular. Put pressure on me about my music and I'll go Shook Knight on you. But I don't know, man. Like, are you working on any music at the moment? New EP, new album.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to write the second album for my project Coprophagia. That's going well. Have
you sent me any of that?
Only the one track. I'm writing another track as well, and I've been talking to a vocalist about getting on it. I've been sending him tracks, and we've been sending lyrics back and forth. I'm just trying to spend more time on it, I think, because I released the album by myself, but I think I did kind of rush it a little bit. I'm happy with it, but I kind of rushed it a little bit. I didn't put any lyrics on it. It was just me making noises, and That's
it's
not
better to slow it down and fully be happy with what you've done.
It's
innit?
kind of raw, and I want to get it more legit, make sure it's progressing instead of writing the same stuff, trying to write more complicated, get more of an atmospheric sound with it. Yeah, mix everything the right way, and then making sure the lyrics are kind of just more smart. Because I feel like, yeah, with metal it's kind of weird. Like, the lyrics can be kind of more epic and atmospheric, talking about, like...
Oh, you can talk about something
of
that you
course.
can't talk about in any other genre, do you know what I mean? You can pretty much say whatever you want.
Yeah, I think the lyrics before, from all the stuff I've listened to, are kind of like bigger ideas about the world ending and shit like that. And then with Slam, it kind of went a more visceral route, like people just talking about killing people. But I think the smarter stuff is kind of how it was before.
Mm-hmm.
Like
More lyrical.
I want to try and be more lyrical with it, introduce more of a historical aspect to the lyrics.
And almost storytelling.
Yeah.
Making
yeah,
a story out of it, and maybe not a story, but a theme.
Yeah.
Like a running theme throughout.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of death metal can kind of be a bit stale when it's just like...
Random.
Talking about killing people and stuff. I feel like you can be smarter with it.
Yeah. Well, I try. That's why I enjoy the... Not many people from my, like, hip-hop roots enjoy some of the horrorcore that I listen to. Because I listen to some weird stuff, man.
You've been making some really good,
really good stuff.
Aggressive stuff
Yeah,
recently.
like, I feel like some of the stuff that I touch on, other rappers wouldn't even dream of.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
definitely.
And I feel like I can tell a story that my mind can create, do you know what I mean? And
I feel like you've almost been on like a Eminem with Relapse.
Yeah.
Like what he did with that. I feel like you've been on that kind of level.
just getting a bit crazy with it, like just explaining in almost in depth, like a situation that I've just completely thought of. And
But it's not done in a cheesy way.
No.
Like, you know, it's not just straight up.
It's not like I'm gonna stab you type of thing. It's more just like, it's more like talking about details of a situation and making it like give you that uncomfortable feeling inside. If you're not a fan of it, you'll feel uncomfortable listening to it.
Not hitting things quite on the head. Is
just being a bit more curveball with it.
Yeah, being more curveball with things that can kind of create more of a dark atmosphere. Feel like I'm saying the word atmosphere a lot, but
no, that is it's a good word to explain, because I feel like a lot of my music is either the vibe or the atmosphere.
Yeah,
there's a lot of lyrical content there, but it takes a lot of explaining. Where I got it from, what I'm trying to say by it, but what you can gather straight away is the vibe.
Yeah, there's
easily.
a lot of good wordplay that really kind of explains things in a way that you can understand. I feel this is what your lyrics do, but it's kind of smart.
Yeah, I don't like to just kind of say it how it is. Kind of like to. It's almost like a thesaurus the way I kind of write things. Like there's a different word for something that means exactly the same thing, but you kind of curve in saying it.
Like how you write the different sorts of lyrics. So I guess, could you explain to us how do you write the more aggressive lyrics?
The more aggressive lyrics? Well, I'll first of all explain that I do make music. I'm not going to shout it out on here because it's not the right place, but I write rap music, trap music, sad emo trap music, pretty much everything from that genre.
Is it less cringe if I shout it
out? Sure.
Listen to Sky. Fate is a hoax. This is Fate.
Yeah.
And our mate Josh is hoax. But yeah,
I'll have him on the podcast as well at some point, I promise. But yeah, so with the darker stuff, you've got to be in the right mind state for it, and I feel like the mind state that you're in when you write that type of stuff isn't usually the best place to be. Like, I'm never like comfortable in life and write the darkest stuff. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's got to be an issue in my head that I kind of want to get out, but I'll get it out by describing something completely different, and I feel like it expresses the emotion I was feeling at the time. Like, so anger, feeling like pent up, feeling like a bit crazy, feeling a bit like people don't understand you type of thing.
I feel like a lot of my smartest lyrics that I've managed to come up with for what I make, that's come from like a feeling that I've had with like a personal issue or something, and I've created it into a kind of like lyric that fits towards metal in some way.
Yep.
Some of my best lyrics have come from that.
That's where I do mine with. That's the process I would take with my lyrics. So I'm got that feeling, and the way I progress with it is the first line's the hardest to write. The first couple of words, they're the hardest. But for me, I won't write unless it's like get it all out in one, because otherwise it's not really that expression. I write a lot of my stuff very fast, and if it's not done, it's never going to be done. Usually spend about 20 minutes maximum, 5 minutes minimum on a track, and what I'll do is try and set the scene and then try and put some meaning in there. So I'll set the scene at the start, find lots of different words that either I know, or maybe try and just go on a thesaurus and kind of find different meanings for stuff, or find, like, this is how I learn lots of new stuff through wordplay. Teaches me quite a lot, and it helps me describe better, because there's a very simple way to say it which many people, it will still go over their head, but it's also quite plain. It's kind of very one dimensional. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when you're writing something lyrical that is dark, it's better to go that curveball route and kind of almost encrypt what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
With my music, it's almost like you need someone like me or Josh there to decrypt what we're saying.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time, like with all the music you write, you do have to kind of explain some of it to me, and then when you explain it, I'm like, oh, wow.
And you get it, and there's a really good track for that, Let the Crows Eat You, and that is a story. Like, that's probably one of my finer pieces that I've done, because it makes me feel almost like, ooh, do you know what I mean? I feel a bit like, ooh, this is the music I could go stomping to. Do you know what I mean? It makes me feel that emotion again, but in a good way. The way I wrote that was just completely out of anger, and I fought up these situations. I fought back to things, and I felt a lot of anger pent up, and I created this scene that everyone has those thoughts in your head. But for me, it can be a lot more deep delving, and kind of at points in my life I've wished horrible things upon people, and I really regret it, but trying to explain it through music has helped me, and helped me understand why I've thought that way. But also the way I write it is basically the thoughts that I've had, just then I encrypt it. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's the memory, and then I encrypt the memory into words.
Okay.
Because with Let the Crows Eat You, there's a lot of like, feel your skin peeling back feel your skin peeling back with a tweezer. So sick I might have a seizure. So I was feeling very like angry, venting, and then I included some inspiration from you, dead mother with the dying fetus type of thing, because I seen you, like, again, darkest stuff can come from like really, really good times, like that jokey time you were wearing a dying fetus jumper. I thought that was amazing. Like,
that was the funniest shit ever.
There's no better time to wear that jumper than the time that you did. And
I feel so bad as well, though.
It was bad, but it was amazing. It was great. Very dark humor to understand it, but and I do have that, and that's when I thought back to that. Like, I go between light and dark, and then just create this overall scene of like, it's very gore, and that's why I say that type of music is very horrorcore or horror gore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've learnt from Tech Nine, I've learnt from Hobson, and I've understood the comfortableness in myself to express them dark feelings. Like, you know me with dark humor. You know me, everyone knows me for dark humor in IRL terms. Everyone knows me for that.
Yeah, but it's got you in some
got me in a lot of trouble.
Gotta calm it down.
Oh,
But
for
you
sure.
have done.
I have done. But around the right people, I'll still be like that. And
Oh yeah, you can't change yourself.
yeah.
Like,
But I've become very comfortable with it and been able to express it a lot better than I had in the past, because it was very straight up in the past, like, you, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much swearing I can actually put on YouTube. Actually, I'm not monetizing this, so I'll be like, fuck you, yeah, you're a cunt type of thing, do you know what I mean? And now I'm like, I word it so much better. I just like kind of express the actual emotion rather than like, you're just a cunt. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a very like one-dimensional way to just diss someone, or say like, I dislike you. Do you know what I mean? You can explain yourself a lot better than that. Like, if someone's annoying me, I'll fully say to the face why they're annoying me in a much more mature way, and I relate that to my music. Like, I encrypt with, I don't want to say knowledge, because that's proper cheesy. That's very cheesy. I would say the only way I can describe it is encryption. Think of encryption. That's my music. Like, everything about it is encryption, apart from some songs where I'm very blatant and they could get me in trouble. As in, a few tracks out there that mention some move on. How comfortable do you feel talking about the things you talk about in your music?
Not too comfortable, to be honest. Like, I don't really want to go down into the detail of like lyrics that I write.
It's probably
like,
not the time, but you know.
Like, what do you mean exactly? Like how comfortable I feel talking about?
Oh, writing it.
Oh, how comfortable I feel when I'm doing it.
Do you feel like that?
Because I feel like
it's your zone,
I can separate it. It's just art. That's all it is. I'm just making.
Art
something.
is weird, man.
Yeah, I'm just making something, and then when I finish doing that, I'm something else, and I just get what I get from that. What I do when I make anything, I just make it, and then that's the end of it. Really, I just enjoy
that's the end of
it.
the stream of thoughts.
Yeah.
See, that's where people can misread us. Say, if they listen to your music and they listen to my music, some of our heavier pieces, they would look at you and look at me and go, wow, that's very violent.
Yeah, I think
they forget about us art, that we leave it at the paper.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I can relate that to a lot of things, like video games. What gets said on video games and private stuff, it gets left there. Do you know what I mean? It's never anything true hate, never anything nasty, never anything violent is meant. It's just a thought.
Yeah, that's what...
It's just trying to touch on stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like with online gaming, I don't know. A lot of people may oppose this or something, but I do think, like, with games like Siege, for example, they shouldn't censor the chat. It's just a game.
It's now very censored.
It's just text coming up on the screen. If somebody says something to you, then it's just text up on the screen. Why do you have to censor that?
I feel like
I say all sorts of shit on there. It's just fun. It's just a game. I know it's something that you're saying to somebody.
If you were around back on the console days,
can let a bit of toxicity come with the game, you know.
Console days, Xbox, PS3, maybe 8 years ago. You go into a game of Call of Duty Online, the obscene things you will get called immediately for nothing.
I think
you're just playing the game. You're not even speaking.
I think that if somebody is threatening you like in a real life way, obviously they should be able to look through the messages.
Oh, for sure.
Hear through what you've said.
For sure.
I think if it's just insults flying around, then you know.
But now, if you're throwing them insults, you might get in trouble.
I suppose.
I don't know whether you'd get in trouble for saying it on a game. I doubt that. But say social media, throw an insult at someone. It's bad news for you.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, I don't know why you can make a diss about someone, and that's fine. We love that culture. But as soon as you throw an insult at someone in everyday life, you're not allowed to. You can say bad things about people, but you can't say it to the face. And isn't that just creating a whole backstabbing culture?
Just trying to think of some conflicts I've had that may relate in a certain way.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Yeah, man.
What about conflicts, just in general?
Well, what I know about you and the reason why I think we became friends is because we like conflict.
Yeah.
We like conflict and we like to be heard and like to say it how it is. And we don't like people kind of back talking. If you're going to say something, say it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't have a problem with it. You can say whatever you want around us because I'd prefer you say it to us than just be with your mates. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like me and you are very aware of things that we do, and obviously if someone wants to say something, they're going to get offended because we're perfectly aware that what we're saying is
it's
not there.
It's what were we saying at Aldi? Dicey. That's it. I was being dicey.
Yeah.
Being a bit dicey with what I was saying, and I was aware of it. And when I got to a point at where I was like, that's a bit dicey, I did kind of calm down because I'll be a joker. I'll be a joker in public, but if I feel like it's getting a bit too dicey for public, I'm fully aware of what I'm doing. It's just that I'm not gonna stop doing like what I think is fun and amusing, and I'm not gonna be myself. But at the same time, I'm fully aware of myself, and at a point, for the most point, I don't care what other people think of me. I really don't care. But I don't want people to I don't want people to feel uncomfortable in the sense, I don't really care how you feel because you know me. But if someone doesn't know me, they might think, ooh, or they might get triggered by what I'm saying. Yeah. And I am fully aware of it, and I do try to censor myself as best as I can. But, like, what do you think about, like, insulting people to their face?
Honestly,
do you think we are creating a culture of backstabbing by saying you're not allowed to insult someone to their face over maybe social media or to their face?
I mean, it's hard for me to say because, there's people that we joke around about on Discord. I mean, it's people that obviously we've always joked around about. It's not like we're so. Well, I mean, it is kind of like backstabbing, but at the same time,
didn't think about that. That's true.
It's a joke.
That's true.
It's hard to.
I wouldn't say it's an insult.
Yeah.
It's.
But these are people that we've known for a long time,
and friends almost.
Yeah.
Almost. They're not anymore, but they had been our friends, and just like I feel like in that way, if they've been your mate, you're allowed to throw a bit of beef back and forwards. If they were saying stuff about me, I wouldn't care.
But like, I could go out one day and I could meet the most like weird person ever, but I wouldn't say anything about them. I'd leave the situation there because I think
it's not worth creating.
there's no point. There's no gain in saying things about someone behind the back to someone that literally it's a conversation that's going to get dropped.
Yeah, you've not earned any stripes from it.
And then
do you
5
know what
minutes
I mean?
later, like, you're not going to think about it again. It's
Yeah, no, that's. I'm glad you touched on the whole, like, it seems like I'm saying, oh, maybe we're creating this backstabbing culture, but at the same time, maybe jokes could be seen as that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jokes could be seen as insult.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to, it is very personal and how you view it. But
Yeah.
I feel like we clamp down, like, on, not us, but the society clamp down on anything that is.
I think it's a bit hard because obviously there's a bit of that whole like snowflake culture going on.
Yeah,
at the
PC,
moment. Everyone's
PC
just-
stuff. And we've all been into entertainers that are very anti-PC.
Yeah.
YouTubers that are anti-PC. I'm very anti-PC, as I am. Like, I already feel bad just being on YouTube in a way,
Yeah.
because they're very PC now. And I like, main way through this, I was trying to not swear
Yeah.
because I was scared. I'm
yeah.
still wondering whether this will be allowed. And to be honest, I'm hoping it is, because there's a lot of useful stuff at the start,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I do want the podcast to be able to just flow the way we want it to, and speak about more like more than just mental health. Do you know what I mean? Everyday
Joe
life.
Rogan stuff's not getting taken down. So.
Yeah, but he's huge. And then there's the whole, does he work for the CIA? Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joey Diaz.
Joe, do you work for the CIA? If you ever do a like come and try and find out some shit about mental health, you can hit me up and promote the channel.
Yeah.
I'll happily go on Joe Rogan and I'll chat some shit with you, man. And if I'll leave it, yo, if you invited me on a podcast, I'd genuinely smoke a blunt, bro.
Yeah.
Even as much as it'd mess me up, man, I would smoke a blunt with Joe Rogan, man. I'd be skitzing out afterwards. I'd be on the floor like, oh no, please. I'm like miles away from home, the other side of the planet, sketching out by myself in some beat down hotel. Got fucking Joey Diaz on there as well. He's crazy. I'd love to be in that environment, because he's very anti-PC as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't say exactly what you'd want to say on his podcast. I feel like a perfect person. I think I've shown you, True Geordie.
Yeah.
Say whatever you want on there. Do you know what I mean? He says whatever he wants. And I feel like podcasts are great for that, because you're getting this information, like real information, uncensored information. Whereas I feel like a lot of the YouTube community for proper videos is very like censored, PC. It's very aimed at children.
I feel like podcasts is what I trust more now for hearing about things. Like, I'd say the only two I watch really regularly are just H3 and Joe Rogan, but it's just unedited things. Well, unedited conversations.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you see them cuts, you're kind of wondering what's happening in the cuts. Do you know what I mean?
I feel
And
like you can really tell when something's edited to be.
and you can tell when
disingenuous.
someone's holding something back if it's not cut.
Yeah.
So, like with Joe Rogan, if someone is withholding information, you can tell. Like straight away. Remember when they started
And he
talking about
presses-
something
he
a
does
bit?
press people on things,
Yeah,
doesn't
he
Yeah.
defo does, and you can see the uncomfortableness in someone about talking about a certain thing, and I respect that fully.
I feel like some people kind of push back as well and ask him
Oh,
some things.
For
as
sure,
well.
they question him. Do you know what I mean? And like something I've appreciated with you already is like questioning some stuff of me. Do you know what I mean? Like a bit of pass back co-host type action. Do you know what I mean? All kinds of action.
How am I looking?
How am I looking, everybody?
Shout out Hodge Twins.
Yeah, shout out Hodge Twins, man. Like, they're amazing. They need a podcast together. They'd be amazing. The passbacks between them already on camera.
Yeah, it was good seeing them on True Geordie. Yeah, that was interesting to see them not kind of like
Not
I love
the
what they do.
typical, like,
Yeah, I love what they do, but it's
Guess
kind of-
what they're doing?
Yeah.
Guess what they're doing?
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see him like
a bit more in a natural context. But yeah, like shout out Hodge Twins, man. Like I followed them for a long time, and they've stayed true no matter what. I really feel like they should do a podcast, man. They really should, because they got the comedy stuff, and I feel like podcasting is like the future.
Maybe like what they do now is just sort of like
a mini podcast.
It's just yeah. I
do you know what I mean?
Like,
it already is. It's very.
It's not edited like down to cut things out. It's just.
I think I can just add into that. I think the reason podcasts are getting so huge now, like relevant, and people are paying attention to them, is everyone is so fed up of the news. Like every country, no one wants to pay attention to what's in the news
because it's censored.
It's censored.
Yeah.
As a podcast, it's like.
Shout out Shamima Begum.
Yeah. That's a nice little cover up.
Yeah. Decent, innit?
Yeah.
Great example of censorship in media.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna know about Brexit until it hits you with the long dick. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You ain't gonna know. We're all gonna get royally fucked up off Brexit, and we won't even know about it.
Oh yeah.
I've forgotten when it's meant to happen. I don't even know.
Because I've never really paid attention to the news. I've never paid attention to anything that's going on in Brexit. I don't know if I'll feel any effect by it.
You never know, though.
That's it, yeah.
Like, people gonna lose their jobs. The economy's gonna struggle. Loads of different things. Like, it's gonna affect us more specifically than our parents and other people like that. It's not gonna affect older people.
The people that voted leave.
Exactly. Like, that's my problem with it all. Like, it's not gonna affect them. It's our lives. Like, I'll have to get a visa. You'll have to get a visa to go anywhere in Europe. Like, if you want to stay there for more than 2 weeks, you need a visa, man. Imagine that. Like, you can go anywhere in Europe now. Stay there if you wanted to. Don't need a goddamn visa, man. Like, we're all part of that. Like, we're this big community. We take people from Europe all the time. People move over here. You get all these Spanish people over here, French people, whatever it is. And PewDiePie, do you know what I mean? Like, we got a great Swede in our country, living in Brighton. And I think that's, like, great. And he don't need a visa. Whereas I don't know whether people who live here and got the citizenship here will need to redo that because of Brexit or anything. Yeah. But I just worry about the freedoms, because another thing that I talk about in my music, I touch on politics a little bit, and in something quite recent I talk about the fact that what's not been in the news is Theresa May's trying to sack Human Rights Act. That's being removed. If Brexit goes ahead, Human Rights Act, gone. And Human Rights Act's a big thing. Like, it took us a long time to get Human Rights Act, and that's your human rights. So, you could be put in prison, right? In a situation, any of us, we could be put in prison, and Human Rights Act means you get fed. No matter what. Yeah. I know it don't happen all the time, but it's to push. Yeah, and if that gets sacked, and there's this like momentary moment in time where nothing is filling that void of where your human rights used to be, what's protecting you?
I think maybe the whole situation,
what will protect you?
Though, is like, it is Theresa May that's trying to do all this stuff, but obviously at the end of the day, it's not entirely up to her.
But why is it we hear about all the terrorism, right? And we don't hear about, oh, by the way, your Human Rights Act, gone, mate.
Yeah, it's true. Like, we know more about this. Obviously, this girl,
Shamima. We know everything about her. We know her bloody blood type by now. Do you know what I mean?
Nothing about like what's going on with the government
currently. Yeah. Like, it's only started being touched on, and now it's being touched on. They're trying to say that they've done this whole thing with Labour. Have you seen it? The Labour are now they've had 2 members leave, 2 massive members. One's from Stockport MP.
Loads of
they've
MPs have left.
And they've made the independent party.
Yeah.
And they're trying to cover up that reason. Even the people who left are trying to cover it up, saying, oh, there's many reasons why we left, and they never really touch on it. Oh, I just don't feel like I was part of it anymore. I'll tell you what's happened, yeah. They've left because they know what's going on.
Yeah, they're scared to have their
It's funny how they've left, yeah, while all of this Shamima Begum stuff's happened. So what's gone on? Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm questioning. What's gone on that's been so bad that a woman who's been in labour for 47 years of her life, and she's a massive labour woman from Stockport, yeah, and she's now left and said, nah, I can't be a part of this anymore. 47 years, man. And she's suddenly thought, nah, I can't be named and shamed on this side. And they're not even fully involved in that stuff. They must know, though, because they're part of it. Yeah. And they're now saying, I don't want to be a part of it. So that's a question I can't answer. I don't know what's happened, but it must... There's something, man. There's something. I don't know whether it's big. I don't know whether it's small. Who knows? But something's happened, man. Like... And I don't want to, like, go, oh, this is what might have happened, because that's just silly. That's, like, contemplating. But something's definitely happened, and the whole Shamima Begum, we get people like her every day. Hold on, right. What I need to do is go for a wee, so you get the microphone. You talk about Shamima Begum for a bit.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that for a few minutes.
While I
Yeah, I think that's probably something that happens all the time. Surely, well, not all the time, but it sounds like more of a common occurrence. And then why is it getting so much time?
Well, that's what I said was that obviously...
Oh, he's trapped.
That's what I was saying is, like, the timing seems to be absolutely immaculate with this girl. It's because obviously at the moment, if you look into the news, obviously a lot of the stuff that's going on with Theresa May, with Brexit and all that, is stuff that they don't want you to see. And it just happens that this girl pops up at the right time when everything's going to shit, to take everyone's mind off it. And it has worked, because that's all people seem to talk about at the moment. But at the end of the day, it can't just be something that happens every 2 years, because the last time we saw anything about this in the news was 2 years ago, when another girl went to Syria and wanted to come back. So the last time we heard about it, obviously 2 years later, Brexit's going to shit, we hear about it again. And it's...
I feel like a lot of this stuff kind of connects in some weird way. Like, going back to, like, social media and things like that, I feel like a lot of people are kind of just looking at all this news on the phone. Yeah. And then a lot of the news that they're looking at is just disingenuous. All of these titles that are just meant to make you click.
It's the government as well, especially, they tried to make such an example out of it with revoking a citizenship, which is something that most of the MPs don't agree with. They've all said that it's wrong with all the human rights. You're not allowed to make someone countryless, because she hasn't got anywhere to go. I mean, she could go back to Syria, but that's obviously not in her interests. But she has no citizenship as of now, so there's no country that she technically belongs to.
Aren't people saying that, like, well, isn't the whole story that she went off to go to join ISIS? I mean, looking at that, like, her going to join ISIS, what is she actually going to do? What is she going to do there? She's given birth to a child.
I mean, well, if you want to believe the newspapers, all her family are apparently some way or another connected to ISIS, but you do have to ask yourself, is that true? Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the person that went to your fucking university, like, do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the was it the bomber from the Manchester Arena?
Manchester Arena bombings, yeah.
What's this?
The whole Manchester Arena bombings with the guy happened to go to the same university.
What, Salford?
Yeah.
Well, a weird one is, like, my boys, Josh and all them, they went to high school with him.
Yeah.
and knew his brother as well.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of information I heard about him that came out in the media that I don't think was necessarily true, because they knew him. Do you know what I mean? And they couldn't ever tell that he was going to be that type of person.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like with terrorism, it's what you make of it. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I strongly believe that.
so what were you talking about?
I was saying that basically the timing of this whole, with her being in the news, is immaculate considering the situation of Brexit. And I was saying that if the newspapers are anything to go by, her entire family are terrorists according to the newspapers at the moment. Obviously using the guy that went to Salford University with the Manchester Arena bombings.
Right.
There was no... He didn't go to Syria, join ISIS, come back, did that.
Well, that's what the news tried saying.
Someone doesn't have to...
The news said that he was in Syria for a while.
Yeah.
And that he did join ISIS and that he was a full-on ISIS member. I don't know, man. I don't know if I necessarily believe that.
I don't know, I could be wrong.
Yeah, same. I just don't know enough information around it. But I think it's what you make of it. Like, if someone brands themselves as something these days, it's going to get believed.
Well, I was saying that I do strongly feel that the government are using her
as a scapegoat
to try and make an example of what the government are capable of. Because obviously they revoked the citizenship.
And wasn't the whole Brexit thing advertised on getting deporting people and...
Oh yeah, the whole initial idea of Brexit was that, we're going to make Britain great again, we're going to get rid of all the immigrants, we're going to make it...
And it's weird, like, it's funny how it had to be something to do with Islam, had to be something to do with ISIS, had to be something to do with Syria, which we've all heard before from many different times, and I don't know, man, like, I feel like it's come at such a time when clearly stuff's happening in Brexit, human rights are getting weirdly taken away, and suddenly now we're meant to hate on this Islamic woman, and I feel like it's bringing back hate, and it's almost trying to induce it, it's trying to make a society hate, do you know what I mean? And I don't know, man, like, I can't get behind it, do you know what I mean? If it's the government, if it's something they say, I'm not just going to take their word and be like, do you know what? I trust you guys.
Sorry to kind of like bring this back again, but I feel like what I was saying before about like this all being connected, like with like looking on social media, seeing the stories, I feel like we are kind of encouraged more and manipulated more than we think we would be into just feeling a lot of anger, feeling a lot of hate.
Towards certain groups.
Yeah, towards certain groups. And in my opinion, I feel like if we just kind of spent less attention on that and you just kind of, I'm getting a bit deep here, but like if you just focus more like on what is actually happening in your life, what you can do, that is much healthier for people. Maybe if more and more people kind of start to come to this conclusion.
But to keep it on that deep level, right? Conspiracy time with Rossi and Horacio. Don't you believe that is exactly what the government wouldn't want?
They wouldn't.
They don't want us coercing and being peaceful with each other.
Yeah, they wouldn't want us just getting on and being
because
calm.
Isn't that the apocalypse day for them?
Pretty much.
Anarchy.
Yeah, I think so.
Anarchy, everything. A rejection of the system, acceptance of society, and acceptance of everything pretty much. So the government have enemies. We as a public don't. That's them. Do you know what I mean? They make choices on the society's behalf, which then we have to try and get behind. We have to believe we're the good guys in the situation. And that's all them, though. We didn't ask for it. We don't ask for them to invade certain countries. And I don't know, they don't want us to be all inclusive, and they don't want us to kind of accept each other. They want some sort of a split. And I'm not going to go on the whole one world government thing in this podcast, because that's another podcast in its own right.
Have to save that one.
Yeah. I don't want to use up all the content, you know. But I do believe that they want us split apart. They built. It feels weird talking about it publicly.
Want us more split apart. They want us feeling uncomfortable in ourselves.
They support segregation. I'm gonna say that. I believe they support segregation as much as they wanna.
I think the best way to look at that is obviously the Tony Robinson and the EDL stuff. Yeah. So that's all bad stuff, but the government and the newspapers are more than happy to keep posting it everywhere. Yeah. Because there's tens of millions of people that live in this country that.
And they know by doing that, there's gonna be people that see that and support it. Yeah, it's gaining support by giving it the publish.
Tony Robinson's got 10 million supporters. The EDL has the same 10 million supporters. All you do then as a government is go, oh yeah, we've got this new policy.
You're not allowed to do it anymore.
We're gonna they're gonna make a policy being like, oh yeah, we'll deport these immigrants. Yeah. And all of a sudden they've got 10 million new supporters.
Watch out, let's say 2019.
Like, obviously, Labour, for example, that's always been the go-to party for people living in working-class areas because of their policies. Mm-hmm. But now, obviously, Labour don't support deporting people. They don't want anything to do with that. But the Conservatives are more than happy to go, oh yeah, we might do that. And now they've got all the Labour supporters in these working-class areas voting for a party just based off this one thing, not realising this party doesn't care about you as a working class citizen. They just care about your views, and your views will help them stay in power.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, with that as well, like, the Labour Party now, they're the one. Jeremy Corbyn came out and said, yeah, I want to bring Shamima Begum in.
Yeah, loads of them have been like that.
And, yeah, there's been a lot of, like, misconceptions with it. It's not that he just said, oh, yeah, we'll accept her. Obviously, she'll get questioned and stuff. But my view, personally, do I want her back in this country? Yeah. No. That's my opinion. Yeah. And I just don't think you can commit such an act of treason and come back. Yeah. I think once you sell out your country like that and show no sign of remorse, there's no remorse there, there's no apology. You'd think, if you're trying to really get back into the country, if she really was really wanting to come back, you'd support everything that country supports, and you'd apologise.
They had talks about something similar to that the last time we had a situation like this 2 years ago, suggesting that any British citizen, it doesn't matter if you were born here, you're white, black, Asian, whatever, if you go to one of those Middle Eastern countries, you're not coming back. Mm-hmm. That's for the talks that they had, but it just disappeared. These talks just never went through. It just disappeared, and now all of a sudden we have the situation coming back up again in a time that it's most relevant for the government to be talking about it. It's not like it's a new thing. Someone
no, it's definitely not
trying
a new
to come
thing.
back to the country. It's not a new thing. It's been happening for years.
Yeah, that's old news, but like, I don't know, man. Like, it's definitely a cover-up of something. Yeah, it's gotta be. But the thing is, yeah, going back to more media stuff, you notice how, like, people somehow soul-heartedly believe in the news. Say they read the newspaper, The Independent. Yeah. They believe that's, like, their own thing. They're independent. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They're not biased. You're getting truthful information. You're not. Everything is checked. Do you know what I mean? Everything's, like, read through, and can we release this? Yeah. And we call it a democracy, but really there's one person, not one person, one thing in power. So how is that a democracy? Yeah. They'll do what they want, whether we like it or not. Yeah. Like, it was seen, the last vote, that was taken, whether it was going to be Labour or Conservative, and it was on live TV, and they messed up, and they were rubbing out votes that were in pencil.
Yeah.
They were rubbing them out and just doing what they want with it. It's rigged. It's just like it was proven that the US election was rigged.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's proof. I won't say it's proof, but I would say there's evidence. There's some evidence out there. Like that Trump was talking to Putin about certain stuff.
Well, do you think that Theresa May's got loads of deals with the Russians at the moment?
Well, they must do, because remember that someone else contracted that chemical that they used to put that spy in hospital. They tried killing him with that thing they put in his tea. Yeah. And there was that contaminant down south.
Yeah, it's in Salisbury, wasn't it?
Yeah, Salisbury thing.
Heard about that, and then you never heard about it again.
After.
I'm sure Top 5's had a video on that, and then it just wasn't on his channel. It was on his channel for like a day or two, and then it was just gone.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me, actually. That, just in case people didn't hear that, like, a good example of, like, censorship, like, people's videos trying to explain something that really they don't want explained, or trying to touch on it, it's up, and then straight away, like, maybe 30 minutes later, taken down. Do you know what I mean? And if they're controlling the internet in that way, they're controlling newspapers, man.
Yeah. No,
they're controlling news.
The news.
Yeah. Whether it's our government or other governments or just combined, they've got that power. And I don't know, like, even if people do talk out about it, are people going to believe it? I think 20% of people are going to believe it, 80% of people are going to still stand by the government because they're so set in their ways. I feel like it's harder to believe that your government doesn't care for you than the easy thought of, oh yeah, the government's got my back.
It's the people that, obviously the government that are in power now, the Conservatives, the people that they benefit are so blind that they're being benefited by the government that they don't care. Like, if you're earning as much money as the people that are benefited by the Conservative government, why would you pay any attention to that? You just go about your day to day, making your $2,000 a week. Like, you don't pay any attention. Whereas it's people that are strongly being affected that are the ones that are paying attention, which are the ones that are being told to shut up because they think that it's just conspiracy. It's
going back to conspiracy. It was like in America, all the people who made conspiracies about 9/11, when it was very recent, somehow went missing.
Yeah.
Somehow, or ended up in prison for something that's totally out of their normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what's his face? The guy that we love on Joe Rogan, crazy guy. Eddie Bravo. Fucking hell, man. He's a legend. He's a legend. He says the most crazy stuff, but he made a very fair point that he won't touch on certain stuff because he doesn't want to get suicided. And it's just touching on the fact that people still today, he got stabbed in his house. Funny that a week later after he posted this certain thing. Weird that. Remember the dude in his house that swore he was being watched by police? Remember? America, he swore he was watched by police. People calling him schizophrenic. He posted on Facebook, "Does anyone have a gun? I need to protect myself." And there was CCTV footage. I got my evidence, all my facts, the straight up facts, because it's on YouTube. But CCTV footage.
Did you take a picture as well, and it showed a picture taken of a van outside?
Van that had like thermal imaging, like a massive camera in the back of this van, right? 9 police cars or 7 police cars turn up. People are turning up, looking through his windows at random points of the day. Just his house. And then turns out, yeah, that so they first of all came out and said, oh, he got stabbed in the back. Like, he stabbed himself in the back. The police officer made that mistake. He said he stabbed himself in the back on TV, on the news. And then they went, oh, sorry, guys. We were wrong. He stabbed himself in the chest. Stabbed himself in the front. Oh, yeah, we made that mistake. We writ out this thing. We read the report, and yeah, we made a mistake. It was the front, not the back, guys. It's like not knowing your left and right. It's sun and night light. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
you hear about these celebrities that died from an overdose. And
I start to question it, man.
And it's like, the families are like, they'll say that the family members have said, oh, he had a history of depression. Like, why don't we actually hear from the family members? Why
themselves?
Is the government saying that we've heard from the family members.
Like, it's weird with because they've got the best source. If they're doing drugs, they got some clean source. Unfortunately, Lil Peep, favourite artist, didn't. Yeah, he was known for just taking stuff off fans. Do you know what I mean? And trusting them. And God rest his soul, man. But other artists, man, Michael Jackson, he's a weird one, but at the same time, Michael Jackson, yeah, did a lot of drugs, man. Did a lot of drugs, and it was mainly prescription stuff. And suddenly, he's died off prescriptions. Well, how's that possible? Doctor. Yeah. But, like, and I don't know whether he's been done for that or not, I can't remember, but I feel like that same situation that happened with him, Prince is a good example, fentanyl, quite a few others, Amy Winehouse, unfortunately, she was amazing, so many music artists.
She's dead.
Amy Winehouse? Yeah, man. Yeah. She died a long time ago as well, man, like, and they're trying to pin that on the boyfriend because he got her doing all that stuff. And I really rate her music and I rate her as a person. She was a bad alcoholic. She did a lot of drugs, and I don't know, like, these people have a really good source of drugs. Like, must be clean stuff. Because you're rich, you're famous, you can do that. Do you know what I mean? I'm assuming. It's a big assumption.
They might just like the sensation of going to the corner shop and meeting Craig on the...
Yeah, just some...
The lifestyle really be,
Yeah, the conjunction of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that plays a big part, but I feel like there's some weird cases. Very weird cases. Why is it? Tell me this. Your famous rock stars, yeah? Look at big old famous rock stars. They're like 80 now.
Why is Ozzy Osbourne not dead?
Why are they still smashing out coke? How are they still smashing out coke into their 80s? How they doing that? Weird that, but if it's music that's like maybe blown up and still blowing up, or maybe I don't know what it is that could be the reason for them maybe getting suicided. I have no idea, because I can't understand why there's rock stars that are 80 years old and they've done everything. Everything. You've got Eminem. He's the maddest one. He's done the most of anyone that I can think of, right? And insane amounts. He had 16 times the maximum lethal dose for a human body of benzodiazepines in his system. Not benzos, opiates. Yeah. It was equivalent to 16 bags of heroin. Right? 16 bags. And he survived. Like, and he's not dead. He's clearly very well still. Do you know what I mean? He's doing sweet, man. Like, I thought he would be dead by now, but guys still are here. And I would say he's been very controversial to the system. But in later years, he hasn't been. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's not. But that's what I love about conspiracies, man. It opens up the idea, and then we can never really actually speak on it because we don't know.
Somebody with a fucking suit and briefcase came up to him and said, "Hey, no."
Oh, Men in Black. The Man in Black. Yeah. Ooh, this...
They rolled up and they went, "Don't fuck around.
Don't do this, man." I listen to some of your old stuff. It bangs, man. We don't want you gone. It'd be a shame, wouldn't it? Best rapper alive. Oh, we could change that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that could be the case, but I don't know. Very, very like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like almost a made up conspiracy, but I could believe some parts of it.
Yeah, I guess it is easy to try and, like, when you bring conspiracies into things, it just kind of makes things interesting. I think a lot of us included, we do like that it adds a bit of a narrative to things that maybe
that can't really be explained.
Maybe perhaps we shouldn't have add a narrative to, but I think that's kind of why it becomes an interesting talking point.
Because it can sometimes you don't get an explanation.
Yeah,
for things.
A lot of time.
And sometimes we need an explanation just to comfort ourselves, you know. And I feel like even as horrible as the conspiracy may seem, it's some sort of comfort, you know, because you got that explanation and you can kind of get behind it rather than something you can't get behind, which is an uncomfortable way to feel.
Yeah, I suppose, like, and it's uncertain as well which way of thinking is more uncomfortable. Like, trying to put a conspiracy story on something or just accepting it. I don't know which one is actually more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand what I mean, but
it depends which, like, it depends which you can get behind more, the conspiracy or what you've been told, like, to be the case, which you find more uncomfortable. Is that what you meant by it?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yeah. Well, conspiracies are a marmite, absolute marmite, because you've got people...
I enjoy them at the same time. It kind of makes me a bit shocked, but I enjoy them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I feel, like, shook because of them. I would say they interest me, but I can't scare myself to a degree because I know a lot, but I feel like that gives me some sort of knowledge that I can just accept.
I feel that it doesn't matter really what the conspiracy is about, whether you believe it or not. I think just having that other thought process in your mind just makes you feel better. Like,
oh, for sure. Like,
it's healthy, at least your mind's working.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, do you know what I mean? And we need that as humans. We need that to progress.
Yeah.
We need that as comfort, whatever you want to call it. We need it. And I feel like with conspiracies in particular, like, anyone could make it. Anyone could make a conspiracy, but everything else has to be backed by science or something else. Whereas conspiracies are very open, and it's kind of like, it's more debate than anything else. It's like a debate on what really happened.
Facts more than a conspiracy, but there's a lot of things, obviously.
But then conspiracies can also contain facts.
Yeah.
So, but then the conspiracy isn't really a fact because it is narrative on top of facts. It's trying to back something that can't really be backed.
Yeah.
I feel like conspiracy sometimes can be complete dead ends. And I feel like sometimes people can get too caught up on the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like with 9/11, people still caught up on it. Like, I feel like it's finally started to settle down, but it's the stuff we've known for so long, and it still somehow manages to find a way into conversations. And it's backed by facts, and I feel like it's a dead end, you know what I mean? Like, we get it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, a lot of conspiracies, I feel like, die before they can even get off the ground.
Well,
whereas
when you learn the truth as well, the truth never actually gets released. Like, I forgot what it was about, but I know in America they have a thing that after 50 years, everything that happens within a government becomes national knowledge. Like, everyone gets access to that knowledge. But all the stuff to do with the Cold War, when that finally was like, right, the public can know about it, No one knew about it.
Yeah.
We got told that everyone was going to find out what was actually going on, but then at the same time, it never happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's because, again, they'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it because it's a false promise to make you feel comfortable and, again, to make you back their cause.
Mad.
But now, I think we should call it.
Yeah.
Call it.
Yeah.
Calling it here. It's been sick. It's been sick having these conversations, man. Say bye.
In a bit.
In a bit. Shall I say?
Yeah, it's been great. Cheers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's been sick. Right. We're going to jet off and we're going to do something very productive, I'm sure. But hopefully I'll be doing one of these again sometime. If not, don't fucking cry about it because I ain't going to do shit. But yeah, see you in a bit.